You've got a studio out in Fredericksburg, don't you?
I have one out at Pertinalis out in out by just west of Austin. There, it's between Austin and Fredericksburg.
Boy, it sure is pretty out by Hunt.
Yes, it is. It's just incredibly beautiful all over that state, and I'm prejudiced, and I would be the first to admit it.
The presidential election, Kucinich has dropped out. My audience and others helped raise the money for the recount. They did find evidence on the Republican and Democratic side of chicanery in New Hampshire. But Kucinich has dropped out now. What do you think of Ron Paul?
Oh, I like Ron Paul, but I think he's got the same troubles that Dennis had. First of all, there's not that much support. Behind him, he is growing a little bit, but I noticed his numbers had he come up in, where was it, Maine here in the last day or so, that he got quite a good, I like what he says. I still think when we get down to it, it's going to be McCain and either Hillary or Obama.
And they're all pro-war.
It sounds like it. I was hoping that Hillary had changed her mind. I was hoping Obama was all the way against the war. I don't know. Maybe public opinion can keep their minds where they need to be.
Let's talk more about the election, biodiesel, hemp, the drug war, so many other questions. This is half the interview's already gone by. This is just wonderful to have you with us, Mr. Nelson. You are a sweetheart to spend so much time with us. We'll be right back with Willie Nelson after this quick 3-minute break. Please stay with us.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network. He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're back live, ladies and gentlemen, transmitting on the AM and FM dial across the nation, simulcast on the satellite and on the internet at truthnews.us, INFOWARS.com, PresidentPlanet.com. We have 8 servers, and this has not happened in about a year. Some of the sites you can't even hardly get to right now. I guess the word has spread on the internet that Willie Nelson is, and we can take millions of visitors, so people are going crazy right now on the websites. Willie, you have made quite a splash here.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, you're burning the place down. It's awesome. Getting into the war, and then the solution. Trying to fix this politically. Magically, Ron Paul's been getting half the votes the polls show he should get. Obama was getting 15 more points or more than Hillary in New Hampshire. She magically won by almost 4 points. That's like an 18-point swing. That's never happened before. Ron Paul really got second place in Nevada. The media just said he didn't even make place. He won first place in Louisiana. They lied and said he got second place. These voting machines, all the corruption there. Give us your view on that.
Well, it's a no-brainer. You got to get rid of the voting machines because they're crooked or they can be hacked, and we can't afford to have another election stolen.
Well, in the past, when you were growing up as a young man and then even older, the voting was they put the ballot box out in the middle of the room. They all got counted. That precinct then announced it. Everybody got to watch the counting. And you still had a few problems. LBJ did some stuff. Stuff happened with Kennedy up in Chicago, but it became news because we had a good system. Now they have these secret boxes. They've been caught hacking them. They've been caught stealing elections. People just went to prison in Ohio. From the 2004 election, as we fingered it as fraud, but and then these 5 big companies all have intelligence agency ties. I mean, how obvious does it have to get?
Yeah, that's my question. What do we have to see in order to change it? Because we know it's crooked.
Well, I guess we first have to expose that it is crooked, and that's now happening. What's the second step? I mean, how do you? The establishment knew we weren't going to like what they were doing, and so now they've moved in to block us with these machines.
Well, since I know zero about machines, it wouldn't be that hard for them to fool me. And it's done with pencil and paper. I get fooled with that too, but it's a little harder.
But you didn't get fooled on the war from day one, and you didn't get fooled on 9/11, Willie.
No, I didn't, and I still think I know what's going on there.
Well, now that Kucinich has dropped out, do you think Ron Paul's the best candidate, or what's your take on that?
Oh, I think he's a great candidate. I think he's a great guy, and I wish him well. And we'll see what happens. I guess tomorrow will answer a lot of our questions.
Yeah, Super Tuesday coming up tomorrow. Willie, getting back into 9/11, because you brought it up, and I was debating even bringing it up. It's so controversial. But other questions, other things that piqued your interest and made you question the official story surrounding 9/11?
Well, as soon as it happened, and the next day, I was somewhere doing a show, and somebody said, "What do you think about it?" And I said, "Well, first of all, when I get hit, I like to look around and see who did it before I start swinging at everybody in the room." And it kind of looked like what we were doing. We get hit over here, and the next thing you know, we're jumping on everybody in the town. So we got hit from Saudi Arabia. I think we have some questions that need to be answered from those folks.
That's a really good point you make. Again, Newsweek reported a week after 9/11 that in the 6 months before, they had massed carrier task forces, 44,000 U.S. troops, 18,000 British troops in Tajikistan, Uzbekistan surrounding, and that Bush on September 10th signed the order in the next week to attack Afghanistan. Man, what timing, Willie, that he signed the attack order the day before.
Yeah, I wonder how that happened.
I mean, how smoking gun is that?
Yeah. I mean, what does it take for us to realize that, we're having the wool pulled over our eyes one more time?
There's a war against the American people, and that's the drug war. Back when drugs were sold on store shelves, we had a lot less drug use in this country. They criminalize it, it corrupts the police, and it puts a lot of money in drugs, and then the kids get involved in it, and of course they got to go after marijuana because 70+% of people don't use other drugs. They use the medicine, hemp, and you've been a big advocate, exposing how DuPont and Dow Chemical shut that down, even the cannabis varieties that don't even have HTC in them. When did you first begin to fight the drug war and to expose what was happening with the suppression of hemp?
Well, first of all, I knew that there should be, that it's the greatest killer on the planet is stress, and the best medicine is cannabis, and for some people. And it's a good medicine. So, first of all, there was no reason to make it illegal unless you had an agenda. And the same thing with biodiesel and ethanol. Ethanol back in the 30s was 25% of the market was ethanol. The other 75% was Standard Oil. So once ethanol became a problem, what did they do? They came up with prohibition. It did two things. It stopped the farmer from growing and making ethanol, because he was making ethanol in the same piece of equipment that he made his whiskey in, which was a still. So when they brought in prohibition and stopped the whiskey, they also stopped the making of ethanol, and they put the farmers out of business who were making their own fuel. And also Standard Oil, again, won the battle.
Yeah, my family's from in between Fairfield and Buffalo, and we've still got over 1,000 acres out there. Farming's tough, so over the years they would sell land off the original Spanish land grant just to be able to pay the taxes, but in the big drought in the 50s almost made them go under. But there are rotting stills back there down on some of the swampland. I don't know who put them there. They're still regulators. They might come after us. But there's old metal remnants of stills, and the story I got is that they made them destroy them and went after people, and they weren't even, most of the time, making moonshine with them. But you're right. That was an economic warfare against the farmers, because I know that happened to my family, the Joneses.
Well, it definitely happened to a lot of people, and it put the ethanol people out of business the first time, and then the second time around they put them out of business, and now they're trying to do it again. And as oil goes up and up and up and up, they're also looking at us over here who are into the alternative energies. And I've heard from the oil companies that, hey, it's all right, you guys go ahead and do what you're going to do for the next 36 months or so, and then we're going to come in and take it over.